Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. Here's a little overview of how I handle design changes when I receive new files for clients on FEA projects that I'm working in. So here's the customer file that I imported into Solid Edge, and I have a couple of revisions in here. I have a revision A, and this is what I initially brought into Simcenter Femap for my FEA study, and I also have a Rev B. And what was changed was on this top weldment, they went from the circular holes that you saw in Rev A to these square cutouts. So let's jump into Femap. I've imported the model, and so I'm going to simulate that workflow. So let's act like our project is already set up and we're meshed, and we have a change to this plate here. So one of the things that I probably would have done in this initial study was come in and suppress these hole features. And you'll notice when I do it, the mesh is automatically updating because I'm using the meshing toolbox and I have it set to auto remesh. If I do track changes, which is really helpful for large models, I can go through and make all my updates. So go through and pick all these curves, and then after doing so, come back and hit remesh entities, and you'll see it cleaned all that up. Now, if I wanted to get a little bit better of a map mesh on this, we could come into geometry editing and pick this curve to put a pad. Now when we go and try to do a better mapped mesh, let's see if this picks it up. Do a remesh entities. Let me change this back to auto so you can see the changes live. And so you see we lay down a really nice mesh. Now let's say this is the stage I'm at, and I've already done my analysis, and then my client comes back with some modified changes. Back in Solid Edge, I import their latest design. I can do an isolate just on the changed component. Now, in this case, I would do it for all 6 of these, but for demonstrative purposes, I'm just going to handle the one. So at least you'll see the process. So I'm doing a save as. I'm going to save this as a Parasolid, and in Parasolid, there's an option to export displayed only. So that's what I do, and then I jump back into Femap, and I import just those changes. So it's a way for me to isolate the changes and label those and kind of have increments along the way to keep track of kind of where I've been, and if I ever need to revert, I have the files managed in that fashion. So we import this. Now, these are all mid-surfaces. We've imported this solid. Now, I don't need to mid-surface this solid. What I can do is burn or imprint these curves onto my existing surface. So if I go to geometry editing, project curve, we're gonna select what we're projecting to. Now when I chose what we're projecting to, I think it just picked the surface here. So we have all of our curves, and we click OK, and you'll see that the mesh updated over here. So it split the surface, did an auto remesh on the fly, but over here it did not, and that's because these are individual surfaces. So that's okay. We'll just go back and pick the surface and do the same thing on this side. So surface to select is this one. Pick our edges. I missed that initial surface upon the first selection, and you'll see that our mesh updates there. Reselect this surface, and then we'll do it again for the fourth. So now we can hide our curves, and you can see that we do have some separate entities here, and we have imprinted that rectangular cutout. Now we can go in and remove these surfaces, and we now have updated our geometry. Now there's one little piece that we missed, and that is right here, and that can be cleaned up by removing these curves here. So we were able to quickly update our geometry based on some changes that the client sent us, and we would now be ready to resolve if this model had our loads and our constraints, which we'll see in subsequent videos. So I hope this was helpful, and look forward to hearing your comments. Thanks and have a great day.